This is Constant Elevation, the show for rising Air Force and community leaders who seek to define the future. Learn powerful work and life tactics to tackle any challenge. I'm your host, Gabriel Gabrock Avila. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. Gabrock back on the mic once again. Hope you guys enjoying your March. It has been hella wet here in Maryland. I'm actually recording on a Wednesday, a little bit earlier, but that's okay because tomorrow, Thursday night, is still the last day of the CrossFit Open, 21.3. Last week, 21.2. Spoiler, I'm not that good at dumbbell snatch and burpee box jump overs. I finished it 17:56, which is faster than 2017, but I'm still not that good at it. But it's okay. I only do one and done. I don't do repeats. And so, but the idea of just continuing in the open and just sharing in that misery, it was fine. And so I'm looking forward to later on this week, just to get it over with so I can get back to my iron athletics, weightlifting, and back to revival fitness. But it is still a great community event. So I'm proud to do it. So speaking of CrossFit, speaking of kind of going back in time, my guest on this week's episode actually has some relations. I'll go over that relationship in a minute, but there's definitely some other pieces that I wanted to highlight, not only during National Women's History Month, but also just I try to cover about leadership in the military. But spoiler, leadership doesn't always necessarily come in a uniform, and I think there's some important teammates that we have. That this is why I'm very excited to have my guest this week on the show. I want to welcome Nicte Soto to the show. Nicte, welcome to Constant Elevation.
Thank you, Gabe. So nice. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah. This is gonna be so. So here's some background stuff. So back when I was stationed at Holloman Air Force Base, I actually was good workout buddies with her husband. At the time, they weren't married, but her husband now is JP. So he was one of the OG members of CrossFit Holloman. So he was in CE. We kind of were working out. All of a sudden, we realized, dude, do you do CrossFit? I do CrossFit. We became best friends. And then that's history. So he was one of the OG members of Holloman, and we ended up building out the gym in the centrifuge. And like the Air Force happens, we go in separate ways. All our lives go on, stuff like that. And then long story short, he meets Nicte, and they have their beautiful family that they've established. And then we started talking about, we go on our separate ways. I start doing my thing here. I write a book about no pressure, but don't mess this up, about Squadron Command. And there's a chapter in there, there's a section in there about military spouses and the commander's wife, my specific perspective on that. Not going to spoil it. You can buy the book. You can buy the book at constantelevation.co or any major online book seller and read about that perspective. But that kind of sparked Nicte's kind of, hey, so I think I've never heard this perspective before. And she reached out through JP to me. We started talking about her experiences, and she's had a very, very fascinating, it's so important to her, like, okay, pause. Let's just record a podcast episode because I know it's going to be so awesome. And I want to preserve that energy. So what I want to do with you, Nicte, is I want to kind of start from the beginning. You've been a military spouse for roughly 5 years. And not that you can summarize 5 years, but tell me about like some of the first things where you, not necessarily where you met JP. I don't care about that. I care about that love story. That's a different episode. But like just how, when you became part of the Air Force family, what were some of those first impressions? And then how has your journey been since then?
So it's been very, very interesting. I think one of the most important things is that I have to say, what prepared me to be a military spouse happened when I was 17 years old. Can you believe that? I was not even thinking about getting married. Did not even think that I was going to ever meet anybody from the U.S. Air Force. And, but I went through this experience where I was an exchange student in Finland at the age of 17. But before that, when I was 16, for a full year, we received a series of orientations to prepare us for this full year where we were going to be exchange students. And then we had preparations and orientations during that year. And then when we came back, there's another process, readaptation. So that must sound familiar to military families where you're readapting. Your husband came back from deployment. Oh, you're kind of like transitioning and readapting to something that's supposed to be normal. And there's always a little bit of friction. But in military families and military, it is. So my first impression, I was in complete shock that there was all these families and young people and everything. And it was just like, oh, now you're going to be stationed in Italy, pick up and go. Did you guys receive an orientation about like the language, the country, the realities that you're going to face there, how you're going to feel the emotional cycle, da 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 da? No. But you have 17-year-olds there, like they're service members that are not even, eligible to drink, and they're in a different culture. And I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? So it was just, a very interesting situation because I went through this whole preparation when I was very young to live in a foreign country. And then my first base as a military spouse was Italy, Aviano. And there was no preparation as a military family. But luckily I had all this background, right? And I understood that there's like this excitement. So you go up on the curve and you're excited about this new experience. But I also knew that there is this curve going down,
crash,
going down, because then you're like, oh, but they don't do this like they do it at home. Oh, they don't do this. Oh, why do they do that? In America, we do it this way. Or in Honduras, they do it that way. And there's this, kind of like rubbing on the shoe that things are not the same, they're different. And then you're like, oh my God, you start a honeymoon process when you start getting into like, oh, okay, I get it. They do it this way, but they have all these other things and it's amazing. Da, da, da. And then you go through the cycle of like, oh my God, we're now applying to become or to go to our next base. Where do we want to go? All this rush of emotions of where would you like to go? Will I get what I'm applying for? Am I eligible to all these things that I want? It's all this emotional rush.
Yeah. Because you're like, finally, oh, we can go those places. Well, you could, but you're not going to get it. Like there's this false kind of, it's called a wish list, but depending on like the timing and like what's over there, don't imagine that like everybody's eligible to everywhere. Yes, that's definitely the my wife had the same kind of thing where she had several of her aunts were also military spouses, and they had like this, oh well, Gina, you're gonna have to get used to this and this. And Gina's like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, oh yeah, Gabe's gonna be an officer, so you're gonna have to make sure you do all these things. And then she's like, no, how about I don't do that? Because my wife's like that, and it's awesome. And so, and then as her same experience as yours, like she saw it and like, oh well, this is really cool. There's a lot of good stuff here, a lot of resources available. But then like the tempo of the Air Force doesn't necessarily let you settle. It thrives on just kind of being more transit's a real word, but like you have lots of experiences. We need you to have lots of experiences as an officer's spouse anyway, as far as timing wise. So yeah, I can imagine like it's funny that I didn't think about it like that when you said there's this high and there's sort of like this crash. We're like, ooh, hold up. It's not necessarily all cherries and rainbows the entire time. There's some dust settling in reality. And then how do you figure out that's going to be something that needs to be taken care of? And so when those kind of things happen, I think it's impressive that you kind of saw that and you were able to figure out how you're going to kind of anticipate it, and you're whether you knew it or not, you're getting prepared for that kind of experience.
So what I think it's interesting is that all this cycle that I'm describing is something that I hope you can hear me. So all this cycle that I'm describing is something that I learned when I was 16 years old, that I knew I was going to go through as an exchange student for a year. And I recognized all those cycles during the 2 years that we were in Italy. And then when we moved to the US and everything. So it's just amazing how I had that experience and I could just translate those things instead of just staying in the dip of a curve.
Right.
Actually, just what you try to say, hey, you have to have resiliency and you have to build your community and you have to have your support group. All these things had been taught to me when I was 16 years old. So I guess my adaptation process or incorporating into wherever we were going, it would just like went into automatic pilot because I had that knowledge
Right.
beforehand. But now I was like, you know what? We need to give this information to other people as well, so they have a smooth transition and they can enjoy their experience no matter where they are.
Yeah, there's definitely like the benefits of being in a military family are huge. And but you gotta, it's not all, like I said, it's not all cherries and rainbows. You're gonna have to figure out how to navigate towards those things because they're going to be ups and downs. There's going to be the deployments. There's going to be the challenges of you're separated from your family. It could be not even just like within the mainland CONUS. You could be around the world, depending, back in Honduras or wherever it is that like you have family. And so how do you build in some of those kind of support networks things in order to kind of get you through the tough times? And so I think you started noticing some of those sparks, and to your own benefit, you didn't just notice it, you started doing stuff about it.
Yes. So I love people. I love connecting people, and I love exploring. So I joined at that time the Military Spouses Club there, and I joined a specific position that created events for spouses, but regardless if they were members to the club. So it was a service to the community. And I didn't realize how important it was until I started meeting ladies that were from Japan or from different parts of the world, that they were scared of leaving their homes or just going anywhere else without their spouse. And just having somebody kind of like move the safety net that the military offers you. And by the safety net, I mean the BX and the commissary and all those things, because you can keep your life just centered on base, or you can go to the outside, right? To the community where you're located. So I created events safe for all of them to come and explore. And it was just fascinating to hear the comments of people saying, oh my God, I how this has impacted in my life. I love what we're doing. And I just love to connect people and make sure that they have a great time and create events that will benefit their lives and benefit not only creating fun events, but also creating things that will give them something to look forward and something that they can take with them as well.
I think so there is one of the things I talk about last week on Friday, I was one of the guest panels on a pre-command seminar for maintenance officers. One of the things I talked about was, hey, so when you're an officer or you're a leader, make sure you go around and like talk to people about just regular life stuff. Like when you're the commander, they're already intimidated with you. So you got to break that down. So I'd walk in and be like, hey, so I don't want to talk about work. Let's talk about movies. Let's talk about sports. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about just normal people things that you can connect on a regular basis. It's not a rank thing where, an airman or a lieutenant's talking to a lieutenant colonel. Like, no, we're just people connecting. And I think what happens is in your efforts, those connections that you're building is where those are really actually connections of trust. You're building those foundational things of trust because like you're focusing on something fun. Like, yeah, let's go experience this thing that's safe. And it's kind of like tailored and curated for an experience, but it's all because you're smart enough to know you can cut through some of the unnecessary stuff and just have a good time. But what that does is people are like, cool.
Yeah, they can relax.
Yeah, that's awesome. But during that relaxing kind of things, it's where you realize you're in a safe space. And then what happens? This happens in the workplace too. And I think you're doing some great stuff in the military spouse network. That's where people are going to be like, hey, is anybody experiencing this thing? And then it's like, ooh, yes, those are hard things. And that's like, you talk about like the highs and lows of being in the military family. Those lows are important to kind of embrace and understand. That way you can actually be brave enough to share them, but also, you're already in a safe space to share the experience because there's probably somebody else who's experienced those things.
So my full name, or my middle name, is Nicte-Ha, and it means water lily in Mayan. And I created something called Nicte-Ha Cafe because I love coffee and I love to, have people around. It's important and it's a great pre-workout, right? So
it is. No, it is. It's the best.
I created Nicte-Ha Cafe because I want, and especially during this challenging times that we've had, like the past year,
Sure.
the disconnected people, not only do military families go through the challenge of trying to readapt themselves in the new communities where they're taken or where job has taken them, but now there's the disconnected. Where do they go and meet people? You know, you're not supposed to gather and meet. So there's a larger disconnect. So now you're not close to your family, you're not close to your, you know, normal support groups. And then you're in an area and you've been in lockdown, or you've been, you know, with severe, you know, the measures that we've all been living.
Right.
And so how do we connect, right? How do we create that? How do we transfer that in-person to a virtual space and just keep on having fun, enjoying, connecting, and having those true conversations? Just recently, I was talking to one spouse and she told me, I met her at another group that I created that it was for new mamas, because I became a mama in Virginia. I became a mama in Virginia. So this is where I met her. I created a support group for women there because Hampton Roads is a very big military area. So it was Navy spouses, Army spouses, Air Force spouses, and we were all in the class to learn how to, you know, go through this experience in our lives. And I realized when the instructor went around, hey, we all don't have anybody here. We all are military. We all need each other. So here we go. We create a group. We were all together. And my friend, she went through this experience where they thought they were gonna, you know how it is. We think we're gonna move somewhere. You start, okay, but maybe, but not happen. It didn't happen. And she was considering to restart her studying journey, as her professional journey, by studying and continuing her education as in the medical field. Yep. And this kind of came to a pause because in the end, they're not moving to where they thought they were going to move. She doesn't have the support group that she needs to do this. And how do we keep on being positive and pursue our dreams and goals when we have challenges that other people don't have, right? So this is why it's important to create these connections. I created this connection with this person in person in a group, right? And we've been able to maintain this connection through Nicte-Ha Cafe, through the different electronic platforms that we have. And sometimes women, and this is a very big difference between women and men. Women sometimes just need to be heard. And even if they cannot solve the problem that in that very moment, for you to be able to express what you're feeling, what you're going through, and somebody else saying, man, I hear you, or that really sucks, I know. But you know what? I'm going to call you tomorrow and hope that everything's going to be all right. And we're going to figure out a plan. That makes the world of a difference. And so I introduced her to a platform that empowered her to create mommy talk groups and stuff. And she's very, very motivated. And these are the things that really fill my heart, you know, to see somebody going from, oh my God, I feel terrible. I don't even, when my husband's gone, sometimes I don't even want to take a shower, or the day goes by, I've been running around keeping the kids safe and everything. And mothers sometimes leave themselves to the very end. And by the end of the day, they realize, oh my God, I'm still wearing the same thing. So,
Sure.
You know, I want to make it a point, inspire you to be the best version of yourself, so that, hey, let's not let that happen, because you need to feel awesome every day, and expressing yourself by what you're wearing every day has a huge impact in your life. I agree. So, oh, nobody's going to see me. Guess what? We have weekly meetings, we have monthly meetings and gatherings. So even if we're not going to get into a physical coffee shop, we are going to get on a video call, and I'm going to compliment on that beautiful t-shirt you're wearing, or those earrings that you're wearing. And I'm going to ask you, it's just normal conversation. If it's
Right,
not me,
right.
somebody else will notice, and just help you to feel connected. And because many of the people that I'm working with, I've met in person also. But then as we get other people and start conversations, there's a new platform that I've used to meet other people called Clubhouse, and it's also great because otherwise we would have never met because physical distance and now, other restrictions that we have. But it's just awesome to
Yeah,
make sure that you meet other people, that you hear what they have to say, and then encourage them to follow their dreams.
yeah. Those are all. There is a couple things to unpack. One, I was mentioning before that I should address better for this podcast. It's a podcast, but I feel like I'm recording it. I should have put a better shirt on, maybe a cleaner Rogue shirt, but that's beside the point. But no, but like there is I mentioned earlier, as far as like the, as the military member, it's like we're the one responsible for dragging you guys around the world and uprooting you all the time and like all those kind of things. And like, you understand as far as that's kind of what goes with the business, and you smile smartly, you love us, you hug us, you see us out the door, and then you continue on with your day. I think it goes kind of, unless you are and I had to learn this over my marriage, to be honest, right? There's an idea where I had to make sure that like, I didn't realize, I was like, no, you're fine, right? That your roof over your head, you have all this stuff, you have the BX, you have all these things that you have, you're totally fine. Like, no, that's not the ultimate military spouse experience. And so as our marriage, because I married Gina like maybe like the first year after I commissioned. And so that idea of like, no, we need to build actually kind of this thing together, but I also need to make sure you have your own space. You have your own thing, that you're not just, Gabe's wife. Like, you're not Gabe's wife, you're Gina. That's your actual name. You have an identity. You have a thing that you want to do in your own passions and your own pursuits. And so it took me a while to get straight up. It took me a while to realize that. And then I'll say that our marriage started being a lot stronger because like I started supporting her. Like, no, she has her own thing she needs to do. To your point earlier, when you said that, like, yeah, so sometimes we need our networks to just kind of talk. And I can hear it. When Gina's talking to her girlfriends, I'm like, okay, I need to get away. And it's just like, no, just because it's not my time. Like they're talking about their own things. As you already know this, I'm sure, but like, dudes, we think we're fixers. There's a thing, so we should fix it. Like, no, I just want you to listen. Like, but why? I don't want to listen for 40 minutes. I want to fix it in 4. So how about we do that instead? And that's obviously a majority of the time, that is not the best way to go about it. So that idea of having your own resources, and there's nothing to say that you can't have the same kind of you should be having those same conversations with your spouse, but like, it's a different audience. It's a different support network that kind of energizes you because they're experiencing, I don't know what my wife's going through. I'm not, because I'm not her. She doesn't know what I'm going through at work either. And so I'm not going to pretend that I can be a good support. I can be supportive, but that's different by being surrounded by other strong individuals who know how to get through these things, who just kind of, you don't have to say anything. You guys can look through virtual, cameras, or just, hopefully going back to in-person stuff, and just kind of, you have those same kind of vibes. But I think leveraging the advantage of technology makes this as an enduring relationships, because we're all going to be going, like the military will keep us moving. And so, but you've planted some seeds that can like exponentially grow because you can always stay connected.
Yes. So Gabe, 2 things. Well, I am that person. I am that friend that will grab the phone and call you. I'm that person that will, call my friends, make sure how they're doing, make sure that we connect every so often. And there's other people that are a little bit more passive. They still care about you, but they won't, life happens.
Yeah.
So what I try to do through Nicte-Ha Cafe is, hey, just show up. Don't worry. I'll have the people there for you to connect, meet, and have fun. And another important thing, I'm currently in the process of writing a book.
Yeah,
it's more like a little guide.
Now you're writing a book. No, we already talked about it. We're putting you're going to write this book, and it's going to happen. So it's going to be good.
Yes. But there is a section there And I talk specifically about this of how do you communicate this to your husband? It's important that you communicate, or to your significant other, you know, if it's your
Hmm.
wife or
Hmm.
if it's, you know,
I know what you mean. Yep.
how do you communicate it? Because you, and I think Italy was a very humbling experience, but I'll go into that at some other point, at some other moment. What I want to say is, I told my husband, and this is a very important, I think this is what makes our relationship stronger, and it's the way you communicate your frustrations. So I'm not going to say that my life throughout the military has been amazing. It's been really hard. I left a corporate life, successful business career, and followed the love of my life. Okay. This is a choice that I made because I believe that my family is the most important thing enterprise that I could ever build. And I truly believe it. But that doesn't mean that it hasn't been hard
Sure.
to actually leave all that behind. So how you express your frustrations, to say, honey, I know I made this decision. I want you to know this is how I feel. I don't need you to do anything. I just need you to know that it's not easy. It's not easy for me right now. I'm not asking you to change anything. I just want you to know that I'm going through a rough moment right now. I'm trying to reinvent myself. I'm trying to figure out, with my skills, my passions, how can I keep on pursuing my goals and keep on developing as a human, as an individual, you know? And I feel it's important to have that conversation, not only with your spouse, but with yourself, because sometimes you don't even know what you want. So
Right.
take a moment, take a moment and just, okay, I feel this way, but what do I want? What am I missing? And if you don't know, let's get together, let's talk, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes those answers are not, you're not going to get it in like one conversation. That's not how it's designed. That's not how life is, right? There's going to be, it's a journey. And that's fine. Those journeys are actually, I think, part of the way that you start to truly discover, because young 20 something Gabe, young 20 something Gina, we had our aspirations to go take over the world and do all kinds of awesome stuff. And then like life happens, like I proposed to my wife, we have some children, we go around the world, and like all these kind of different things happen all along the way. Potentially your passions and what you are as an individual, as a military spouse, can change along the way, and those are great things. Maybe like all of a sudden you really latch on to, like you said earlier, the service of motherhood, of wanting to be a rock for a community of new mothers. That's a great passion to have. You wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity. You wouldn't even know that was a thing when you first said early young 20 something, but you have to be open to those ideas. That part of like admitting that, like, hey, so I'm thinking about these things, it's kind of hard right now, that's difficult. And that's definitely something through either a combination of probably maturity as well as experience. You get to see other people doing it and you're like, oh, that's okay, she did it, he did it, I could probably do this too. Smartly incorporating those things in a way and having a support network through Nicte-Ha Cafe is a great way to kind of do yourself in a safe space and be like, all right, cool, I'm ready to go. Like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's put on some stuff and let's walk out this like fiercely, as opposed to like, we're not going to do this like half-ass. We're going to do a whole ass. Let's make sure that you have all the energy in you. So there's no reason why you can't do that. But like a lot of times, especially, and you know this, in a socially connected world, we still suffer majority of disconnection. And so that's where some of the stuff that you're doing, Nicte-Ha Cafe, some of the stuff that you're introducing me to the clubhouse, that voice connection, this is the reason why, like, I feel like there's a different vibe about where you're heading, and the things you're growing and creating is going to hit differently, because it's not this like, it's not the social media, it's using a platform, but it's not the usual social media thing. You have genuine interaction, that voice, having a conversation. I think that's the reason why you named it a cafe, is because like, no, I just want to have a chat. we're having virtual coffee. You have your coffee over here, I have my coffee over here. We're going to talk. That's where those conversations really can take off versus that serial of social media that you lose from there. And so there is yeah, that's where I see the really good benefit of everything you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. And I think connecting through voice in a way, you can tell the authenticity of a person. So I really want to invite, I really want to invite whoever's listening, if they want to check us out, they can go on to Facebook and just search for Nicte-Ha Cafe, Nicte-Ha Cafe. I'll spell it Nicte-Ha Cafe, CAFE. .com. You can search that on like Facebook or website or whatever. But for you to know that we are really there to listen, to hear you out. But the invitation goes, we say that we are connecting noble humans. Okay. And what does noble mean? For us, we want to work with people that are authentic, that are true, that are there, that have principles, to serve others and give to others. And because, there's people from all walks of life. And if you don't identify yourself with certain values, there's other groups out there that can help you too,
Sure.
and really our idea is right there. We're going to navigate with you. So when we say noble, to navigate, it's that N, to overcome obstacles, because we all find different types of obstacles. And then become your best version. And we have an event coming about that real soon. We can talk about that later.
We will.
L, to laugh and love. And I say laugh because sometimes we need to just laugh at the ridiculous of life. Okay. We find ourselves with some situations that you're like, seriously, no, I can't even believe it. Like, it just goes over you. Like, it's just like, it surpasses my intelligence. It surpasses my level of, you just have to laugh at ridiculous. And instead of sometimes taking yourself too seriously, look at it and just laugh at it and be like, oh my God, okay, we're going to overcome this. It's serious stuff. It could be a bill, or it could be, a deployment, or it could be whatever. Just laugh. And then we're like, you're going to feel better. And then you're going to figure out how you're going to overcome it. And then we have E, to empower others to do the same. My goal is that whoever we interact with, they can go out there, meet other military spouses, and just give that positive energy and make sure that as a community, we're connected. We make others become their best version and, achieve their goals. And
that's awesome.
I'm smiling. Smiling.
Good, dude.
I'm just like,
here's
because you know why? Because when you see it happening, and this is the magic, when you talk to somebody and you see how that has impacted their lives already, and you go from seeing a person who was not feeling great to hosting conversations almost daily, and taking that, lead, and feeling empowered. I feel I've done my job there, you're already feeling better for your kids, for your family, and for yourself. So you're setting yourself for success. You take baby steps, then you're not scared of taking the bigger step and the bigger step. And there's a step further to achieve whatever that might seem impossible today.
Right.
3 months, a year from now will be achievable if you're walking in the right direction.
So there is so working with noble humans. I really, when you first introduced me, I'm like, dude, see, this is awesome. So last week I mentioned at the pre-command seminar, I said, all of you guys guys and girls going to command, y'all better have your leadership philosophy. You gotta have like a thing that just kind of, it does that thing that explains you. It needs to be passionate. Don't copy something you saw at Target. Don't copy something you saw on the internet or some kind of quote, whatever it is, because it actually needs to mean something to you, and it needs to be catchy. And so, like N.O.B.L.E, your acronym and everything you go, that is an amazing one. I will say, if JP uses it and borrows it, I'm gonna be like, "Boo! You copy that from Nicte, you faker!" I will call out in the audience and just call him out, and I'll give you the shout out because that's where it came from. But the E part of N.O.B.L E, I really think if we're gonna put all the, as far as all the links and some of the explanations, please check on the link notes, because I'm gonna put all that, because there's a lot of stuff to unpack here, but there's a lot of good stuff to unpack. The E part, empower others to do the same. Bruh, that's amazing. That part is like the part where you're already laying the foundation. It's not about you. It's about the community. It's about trying to lift up other people to be like, hey, so remember those, that maybe your starting point where it's kind of rough and you weren't sure where you're going to be at, but then look where you're at now. Remember that. Remember those kind of feelings, because you need to make sure you're paying it forward and realizing there's going to people that it may require you to think outside of the box, because you're going to start talking about different kind of generations. How do they communicate? How do they feel comfortable communicating? It is what it is. Get over it. If you're going to be the right leader, if you're going to be the right noble human, you need to take those maybe baby steps, like me trying to figure out Clubhouse and all that stuff you're introducing me. And then like, no, there's a space for this. And people are going to respond because that genuineness, like you said earlier, that authenticity of where you're coming from, people inherently respond to that. They can see, military people, clearly we can see through, hopefully you can kind of see through some of the bullshit. You can see through like the fake leaders and the fake spouses, like, you're being nice to me, but I don't know, it seems kind of weird. But like when you can foster these actual relationships through conversations, through topics that actually hit all of us, but you're doing it in a safe space that actually can, and everybody's there to uplift each other. That's the power I think you're bringing through all of your endeavors. And I think there's going to be some really good stuff coming around the corner. It's going to be awesome.
So, well, I always say my talent is to bring people together. That's right. Who I am, what I do. And I create awesome events, bring incredible experiences that make you feel connected and alive. I want you to feel connected and alive. And I love that the name of your podcast is Elevate, Constant Elevation.
Yeah.
Because the first big event that we're going to be having is right before Mother's Day. It's May 8th. Okay. It's the Saturday before Mother's Day, which Mother's Day is going to be the 9th this year.
I gotta remember that. I should remember. I already know that. No. I already know that.
Okay. Guess what's the name of our event? It's called Operation Elevate. Because
Are you serious? Bruh. Let's go. What?
And what are we uplifting? What are we taking up? It's all of you. We're going to empower women to emerge fresh with confidence, credibility, and class, out of this pandemic with everything.
Dude, holy crap. That's really cool. I like that. Not that I have a copyright of the word elevate, but that's really cool. And I like that. I think but it talks about whatever. I need to hear more about this, because I'm going to have to sign up like 5 times. The idea of, tell me more, because I'm already impressed and I'm excited. Let's go.
Okay. So, we've all been through this period of energy drainage. Okay. But we're ready to get out of it, right? Mm-hmm. Are we ready? That's the question. If you're not, we are going to make it sure that you're ready to embrace it with every single ounce of energy that you have inside of you. And if you feel that you don't have any energy, this event will bring it to you, because the way of you express yourself through your clothing has power. It's energy. And
yes, I agree. Completely agree.
So we were talking earlier, somebody asked me, wow, so why are you wearing all this stuff? Like, why do you wear makeup if you're not going anywhere? Why are you wearing, your earrings or why you do this or that.
It's look good, feel good. It's look good, feel good. I want to be confident. Why do you think I look like this and I wear my fanny packs and I dress because I'm confident? Damn it.
That is. Confidence is closer than what you think. And this is what we will bring to you. Confidence to embrace your life, your reality, and take you to where you want to be, where you deserve to be. This is why we're going to do Operation Elevate, because we're going to go from where we are right now up forward where you should.
Awesome. Shit. That's awesome. I'm not kidding. I'm hyped. I'm hyped because I think there is the energy behind it. And I know it's going to come from you, and the team are going to have the right kind of bandwidth and kind of hitting those right notes that everybody's out there, but like they're going to see someone like, holy crap, I didn't realize that somebody is actually talking about everything I need to see right now. You nailed it. As far as like, we're ready. It's springtime. There's some stuff we're about to like Diana Ross, I'm coming out. Like, dude, it's time. It's time for us to kind of remember who we are and make sure that we support each other and keep on and being who we need to be.
So a little bit playing, I put out some posts out there asking people, what's your wardrobe saying about you? And the people were like walking out of with a bathrobe, like comfy, or
sure.
As long as I don't smell, they won't call me a hobo, right?
Okay.
So, but really, we're ready to get out of this. Like, we're ready, and even we're ready to move forward with confidence. And there's more to say about who you are by expressing yourself with your clothing. And we have an amazing, this event has been crafted in conjunction with lifestyle, fashion expert. She's been working in the fashion industry for over 15 years. And I personally worked with her. If you check out the show notes, you will see more information about my story with her, how we got together, how we started working, and the power that this has. So I really, really want to invite you guys to check it out. I really hope that you decide to join us. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be prizes and there's going to be lots of knowledge. But overall, we're going to work on that mindset to prepare you, to take you to where you deserve to be.
Dude. Frick. How come I don't have one of these things? I should have done something like this too. And I'm mad. Not kidding. This is so amazing. It's amazing. Like we've had this conversation for, as far as like being a first-time military spouse and what those means, and kind of like the not hard, well, could be hardships, just the kind of, the growth that comes with being a military spouse. And then you've realized the opportunity as far as where we're out here. So let's make the best of this. Let's bring each other up. And like clearly you have the personality that you don't mind being like me too, where it's like hold my beer. If everybody's kind of weird and uncomfortable, I will take the first whatever it is, and then let's go. And then people are like, oh, okay, yeah, this is comfortable. And then all of a sudden everybody's having a good time. We need those kind of catalysts in the community. I'm very thankful for you being one of those catalysts for the Air Force and the military community at large, because it just makes us wearing the uniform just that much stronger. Why wouldn't I want to be supportive of this? Why wouldn't I understand, there's a happy wife, happy life makes sense. I'm like, yeah, you have all these things. I can't do these. Me as the spouse, the military spouse in there, I cannot provide, and it's not a bad thing. I just know I can't, because it's not coming from the same space. You have hit, and your community has hit on something that is really powerful and really needed in this time. There's going to be the ups and downs of whatever the military is going to bring, and we have all kinds of random different challenges now. What's consistent, you guys and your team is going to bring, is that strong. We all say that, like, you go to everybody's damn retirement thing and like, oh, he or she was my rock through the whole career. That fucking phrase doesn't happen just magically. It happens because it's legitimately from a space of caring, a space of, but it comes from a community. It comes to become, you have people like you have people, other spouses out there who are there to lift each other up, because that's how it only works. It's rarely are our achievements singular. It comes from the community stuff. And I really think through Nicte-Ha Cafe and all of your endeavors, I have to, like you said, it's all in the show notes and everything, because there's so many I have to catch up to. I'm excited for everything you're doing, and I'm going to have to, we'll figure out some ways to publish this through the month of April, all the way to your May 8th show date. I'm very sure that we can figure out ways for the Content Elevation audience to kind of take advantage of that and make sure their
Special
significant
discount
others.
code.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Gabe Rock.
Hey, see, look at that. Boom.
Yes, Gabe Rock.
When you go to the registration, you use Gabe Rock as a discount code, you get a discount. Who doesn't like a discount? Those are going to be great things, because I'm going to go too. So, because I need to get my outfit game on point. But the idea of this is awesome. I'm not kidding. Like, this is the reason why I wanted to have you on my show tonight. And the energy that you have, the positivity that it brings to the community, I think is needed out there. Your skill sets are very, very much welcomed. And I'm excited to see where everything in the future goes for you, because you're creating something that's going to, whether you know it or not, it may be out of your control. Like, oh my God, it grew into something bigger. Like, yep, it's whatever. I'm very sure you're qualified and capable of taking care of it. But I really see some good sniffs coming out of all the energy putting into this.
Thank you. I'm very excited. As I was saying, it's like when I was smiling, I was like, when you start seeing it, you're like, okay, this is what we're doing. It's happening. Yeah. It's already affecting people's lives, and it's going in a good direction. And, it's one of the challenges a military lifestyle has. Sometimes you connect with people, and sometimes you're in a base where you're like crickets. There's nobody that speaks your language. It's the reality. Mm-hmm. But with this platform, it doesn't matter where you are, where you go, the people that you meet, you take them with you, as long as you have a device that has access.
We all have it. We all have them. So
right, you will have your support group with you no matter where you go. Your support community for your military lifestyle. That's who we are.
Awesome. Damn it. So good. This is so good. Nicte, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really think this message is going to end March in a huge positive note. I wish you the best at everything you're going to. You don't need my wishes. You're going to freaking be awesome, because you're awesome like that. But I'll offer, if you have any final comments for the audience tonight, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. I think we're good. I think most importantly, don't forget to look inside of you. You are still you. Doesn't matter what you left behind. Doesn't matter what was your life before the military. You're still you. You have a set of talents that are unique to you. And that is what will make you thrive. If you don't know what those talents are, let's work together. We will uncover them. We will polish them, and we will help you thrive with your own you. There is no magic formula that can be just, cookie cutter formula for everybody. The formula is uncovering you and using your own talents to shine and to succeed. And that's what we want to do with you.
Okay.
That's what we want to work.
Dude, that was like you just wrote like the intro paragraph. Like, I'm probably gonna take that part out and just, I know we just end it. We're gonna end the podcast in a few seconds, but like that's gonna be the intro, because that was so bars. That was so good. So good. Damn it. Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. And I truly believe, and why I'm saying this, and let's be true. I started 2021 feeling terrible. I'm a planner, and I always have an agenda. I always have a plan of what I'm going to do, where we're going, and plan trips, plan activities, plan a whole bunch of different things for my family. Then I plan stuff for my business and so on. And this year, my husband, the end of 2020, he was like, so what agendas do you want to order? Because I love paper. And I was like, my 2020 is like empty. I don't want another agenda. Now listen to his wife. he bought me this beautiful agenda, which actually did not have dates, because I said, like, it's empty. So it didn't have dates, but it did have a specific layout that made you ask yourself, what do you want? And kind of start journaling about it. And one of the first things I wrote was like, what are my talents? What are my assets? And I was like, let's rock this. It went from like, I don't want anything to let's take over the world, basically, like from 0 to 100.
Yeah, real quick.
Having the right person beside you it will take you there. So it was amazing. That made me make a series of decisions that put me where I am today. And I'm thankful for that. And then motivated me to give to others. I want others to be where I am, beyond of where I am, and just feel awesome. That's what I want.
Yeah. Shout out to JP. Hey, bro, good job picking out the thing that didn't actually fix the thing for your wife. You just kind of like nudged her because she already had the energy inside of her. JP was awesome. All right. So Nicte, again, thank you for everything, for everybody, for the Content Elevation audience. It's probably going to be best if you look at the show notes, either on YouTube or on my website, constantelevation.co, because there's a lot to unpack here, but there's a lot of good stuff. We already talked about the upcoming, I didn't even know what was happening, Operation Elevate, happening right before Mother's Day. So I highly encourage you and use that discount code GABROCK to get that discount. And then there's just more stuff. This is not like a one-time kind of thing. This is a larger community that your military spouses can take advantage of, and I highly recommend, because this is not like you can clearly see there's passion behind this. This is not some fly-by-night trying to create like this weird kind of cliquey kind of thing. This is something that's actually trying to drive people to be their best, and I can't do anything more than support that. That's why I love Nicte. Again, thank you for being on the show. And for the Content Elevation podcast audience, we'll talk to you soon. Read the show notes, because you need to pay attention. This is a great opportunity. Share with your spouse. Stop being weird. Share with your spouse. Share if you don't have a spouse. Share with somebody else's spouse appropriately. Just recommend it to the other person, and then get it to the other person.
Share with the women that you care for. So that could be your mother, your sister, so forth. Because this is not reserved. This event is not reserved for military only. It is for all those women out there that need that uplift. We need to elevate and come out of this strong, with energy, with class, with everything.
Damn it. See, she has more bars than me. Whatever. We're done with this episode. So Nicte, again, thank you again for joining us this week. Content Elevation. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.
Bye.